Thank you for joining us as the Rutgers Preparatory School Art Department celebrates the seniors in the visual arts. It's been a great year. A record-breaking 1/5 of the graduating senior class took 4 full years of visual art courses.
It has been a pleasure teaching and guiding Ty Marchese for 2 years during his high school journey. There have been many wonderful conversations throughout his time in the studio, ranging from visual and sculptural art, life inspirations, and how could I not mention the automobile, which anybody who knows Ty has joined into those passionate talks. Ty has a gift for details and a sensitive touch with his materials. I truly believe he is capable of creating whatever he puts his mind and effort towards. I will miss his imaginative approach to his work, the confidence he admits, and his genuine sense of humor. I know the campus of High Point will be enhanced by his presence.
Measured and methodical, Sophia has crafted many images that demand analysis. She does not record moments per se, but rather constructs artworks for consideration. Domestic symmetry, green in nature, green paint, all sorts of greens. An entire recreation of a large tree in shared shard moments. Quiet in class, to be sure, but her photographic visions have spoken loudly through color, composition, attention to detail, and attention to her surroundings. It's been really great seeing the development these past 2 years.
I've been with Jason in the studio for the past 2 years. I don't know how he made the decision to try architecture and design as a junior, but I'm very glad that he did. Highly creative, Jason brought a unique approach to each project. A wonderful example of this can be found in his dice tower idea. Instead of moving along with your classic design, Jason went full sci-fi with a Dune-inspired ornithopter. This is how he approached every project he has done in the studio, creating unique and memorable designs along the way. Jason, best of luck at City College of New York, both in the classroom and on the baseball field. Put your mind to finding success in both, and you will.
The year spent with Katie in the studio has been filled with moments of me witnessing Katie's continued growth and success. The year began with tremendous doubt about her abilities and artistic merit. However, she is ending her time in the studio with tremendous accomplishments exceeding that of the average student in their first year of working with these materials. It is amazing to see the happiness engulf her being when she succeeds with her ideas and efforts. As the success materializes, so does the glow of pride that emerges from Katie. I am so pleased with the determination and follow-through you have delivered this year. I have belief that the vastness of UConn will seem less daunting now that you know that you can overcome the uncertain.
Do you think you could look at my sketchbook drawings and give me some feedback? These were among the first words Alex spoke to me last fall at the outset of intermediate art making, his second studio class in 2 years. This question revealed that he was very interested in developing his critical understanding and technical skills beyond the scope of class. It is always a pleasure when a student expresses interest in this way, and Alex has been no exception. As he settled into the new paradigm of expectations for a second-year art student, he dug in, and the time he invested outside of class, which was considerable, to perfect his vision produced great results. Alex is dogged in his approach to developing composition and acquiring new skills, a mindset that will take him far as he continues to develop his design skills in college. I am sorry that I only experienced Alex in the studio for 1 year. It wasn't nearly enough. He has accomplished much this year to be proud of, and I hope he carries it with him as he moves forward. As a senior, Max undertook intermediate art making this fall. It was my first year teaching him, though his second in the studio, and I am sorry I only had 1 year with him. He rapidly revealed himself to be more than technically adept. He was a quick study in acquiring new techniques and concepts, and he sprinkled on top of this a creativity that sparkled compositionally and conceptually. There is no doubt in my mind that Max understands the relationship between conceiving, developing, and then reworking ideas until the final iteration produces the solution he deems most effective. He has no fear of making mistakes and using the setbacks to further strengthen his final work. This lack of fear and willingness to listen to process opens so many creative doors, in all disciplines. The depth of his creative ability, supported by his curiosity, are the perfect working combination for his future creative success, and I have no doubt of that success. This was Victor's second year in the art studio after taking drawing and design last year, and has been my first year as his teacher, working with him in intermediate art making. As a musician, Victor appeared to understand from the outset that to achieve the results he demanded of himself, he needed to invest time and energy, something he was always more than willing to undertake. Couple this investment with a curiosity and an ability to explore idea development, and the resulting work is very successful. And Victor had a very successful year. Deeply reflective, thoughtful, and willing to take the kind of creative risks that produce exciting work are the hallmark of this creative person. I am sorry that he and I only had a year to work together, but I am grateful for the time he did have to spend in the studio. I have no doubt that he will infect the music world with the same wonderful creativity he has revealed here in the studio as he moves forward to focus fully upon his music.
Alina took architecture and design as a sophomore. Due to conflict her junior year, she was away from the studio. Fortunately, she decided to come back for her senior year, and I am so glad that she did. Alina brings her all into her ideas and continually finds success. The graphic representations of her work are some of the strongest in my years at Prep. Meticulous in her approach, Alina showed growth with each project. Alina, it excites me that you are looking to pursue design at the collegiate level. You are ready for the challenge. While you spend the long hours in the studio, I hope much of what you learned at Prep propels you to success. All the best, and good luck out there.
I am so impressed with Dia Baguette as a student, classmate, person, and artist. Over the past years in the studio, she always pushes past the requirements of a project with passion and excitement to achieve her creative ideas. She has carried this energy every day with ever-increasing passion and motivation to explore her ideas while experimenting with her materials. She does not see work as an obstacle or frustration, but rather a route for her success. The positivity she has brought to the studio over the years will be incredibly missed. The scope of her creativity and dedication is inspiring. I know whatever Dia has in mind for the next part of her life will be taken by the reins with maturity, determination, and mastery. Pitt will be lucky to have a student of your caliber.
Scotty took his chance at architecture and design as a sophomore, and he has been in the studio ever since. This year, due to conflict in his schedule, he even took the architecture and design 4-5 course away from the rest of his classmates and sat in on another class. I appreciate the dedication he has shown and am proud that he wanted to finish what he started. Scotty brings a nice level of confidence to each project and strives to push his ideas. His Rube Goldberg machine is a perfect example. Usually, in the design, pulleys are where the problems occur, but Scotty decided to use the most in class. He then made the necessary adjustments until his idea worked, and he had a successful run. Scotty, glad you've stuck around. It's been a joy. The energy you bring in the studio is positive. As you move on to campus of your choice next year, keep that energy and find success. Jackie has been in the studio for the past 3 years with me. Coming in as a sophomore, she quickly showed comprehension of the design process. She showed strong conceptual design, she's been strong design drawings, she's had strong modeling. When I think about Jackie's time in the studio, I will always think back to her many aha moments. Whether it be creating curved stairs in a 2-point perspective, or trying to figure out the timing of a swinging mechanism in her Rube Goldberg machine, Jackie would always work at something over and over until she fully understood. Jackie, very excited to hear about your decision to attend the University of Maryland. Make the most of your time there, seize every opportunity that comes along, and best of luck. Go Terrapins.
It has been a wonderful experience having Shifa in the studio this year. The first year working with Shifa revealed an incredible intellect, determined worker, and a model student of maturity. In all my years at Rutgers Prep, I have never had a student dressed to the nines, never once refusing to dive headfirst into her work with fervor, as well as asking if there was anything that could be done at the end of the day before leaving. Matched only to her determination to succeed with different skills in the studio. It was a true pleasure having you in the studio this year, Shifa. I hope in the years ahead you keep creativity and imagination in your everyday life. I am grateful for Ella Gilman's participation in the studio for 3 out of her 4 years at Rutgers Prep. In that time, she has grown in many ways, a student that realizes the power of effort and the joy it delivers when met with success and accomplishment while pushing through challenges and obstacles. As with many students over the years, time always seems to flee right when ability, creativity, and desire synchronize. I will miss her strength of will, her candid communication with me over the years. My hope is for Ella to always believe in the abilities and creativity she possesses and incorporate them into every and any aspect of her life. I wish you the very best as you begin the next chapter of your life at the school of your choosing. I know you will conquer whatever comes your way.
For 3 years, I've had the privilege of teaching Aiden. Always prepared, Aiden was the usual pace setter for projects. He would trust his design and continually make progress with each class. Whether it be a pyramidal dice tower or a Rube Goldberg machine, Aiden worked to find a viable solution for the project at hand. I've enjoyed watching Aiden's confidence grow over these past 3 years. While he will tell you he's not a designer, he's lying. He has all the abilities and skills. Aiden, Northeastern is lucky to have you. Take every opportunity and make the most of each and every one. Best of luck.
Since joining Rutgers Prep as a sophomore, Nina has spent 3 years in the art studio, honing her craft and developing her conceptual approaches to art making. It was pretty impressive that she appealed and was permitted to move directly from drawing and design into critique and production 1. This speaks volumes about her drive and tenacity. Never one to shy away from a conversation, Nina regularly brought the level of class discussions to higher peaks with the breadth of her knowledge. Her approach to creative problem solving was also consistently heightened by her intellectual approach and ability to dive deep into research. Impressive. I have little doubt that Nina, bringing all of her creativity and drive with her, will continue to find and create success up in Massachusetts over the course of her college experience.
Anaya Patel has been working in the studio for 3 of her 4 years at Prep. In that time, she has developed into a student that values every minute in the studio. She works on multiple ideas and directions simultaneously. She has embraced methods of creation that work to streamline her ideas, delivering intention and precision. She always embraces the process needed for achieving success. There is never a time when Anaya allows a challenge or a required demand to sway her intention. All this with positivity and a smile. I know her future will be bright, colorful, and full of imagination. The classrooms and halls of the University of Illinois will be grateful for this student being in them.
Christian spent his freshman and sophomore years in the art studio, took a break, and then realized what he was missing and returned to the studio this year as a senior. Thank you for coming back. I was so happy to see you come home to the studio, Christian. Always thoughtful and deeply reflective, he consistently strives to attain new levels in his work by pushing his idea development ever higher. Despite possessing the same trepidation that all art students have, Christian pushes beyond and takes the kind of conceptual risks that make for compelling compositional construction. Always exciting. It's not easy to take risks, but Christian puts his head down, gets to work, and makes it appear easy. And just like that, with his ever-present smile, he makes things work. I know that his creativity and natural curiosity will lead him to much success as he heads off to college.
The only way to describe Audrey in the studio is dynamic. She truly is a dynamic designer. Never timid with her ideas, she continually pushed past the minimum asked. Her designs explored boundaries others were afraid to reach. A project that exemplifies this is her Rube Goldberg machine. Her steps had a higher level of difficulty, and she still was successful. The quiet leader of the class, Audrey always led by example. It has been an awesome 3 years with her in the studio. Audrey, Carnegie Mellon is getting a rock star. You have all the tangibles to be successful in anything you set out to do. I am disappointed you weren't able to get 4 years in, but will fully appreciate the 3 years you were in the studio. Good luck and best wishes. Max wandered into my studio as a sophomore with a smile on his face and has been there ever since for the past 3 years. He brought a positive mentality to each class, and the other students followed his lead, making the studio experience all the better. Max showed growth in both his ideas and outcomes each year. From conceptual to final, he continually looked to improve. As he started to trust his abilities more, his work followed. Max, the past 3 years have been a delight. As you move on to Lehigh University, I hope that you can utilize something that was learned in the studio, both in the classroom there and on the baseball field. Make the most out of the awesome chance you've been given, and best of luck. Yvonne has taken part in the architecture and design program here at Rutgers Prep for 3 years. Her freshman year, she was fully remote due to COVID and in another country, so the experience was very different. A conflict kept her out of class as a sophomore, but the ship righted itself her junior and senior year, and Yvonne was able to fully immerse herself in the studio. Yvonne is one of the most meticulous students I have ever taught. carefully planning and executing each part of the design process. Her results are thoughtful and creative design solutions for the task at hand. Yafan, I'm so glad that you are pursuing design at the collegiate level. You are ready for the next step and your creativity will continue to grow. University of Illinois at Urbana is getting someone ready to take on any challenge set in front of them. Take advantage of each and every opportunity. Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone and continue to focus on your learning and your growth. Best of luck. Jonah has been in the studio for the past 4 years. Well, technically, his freshman year was partially in the studio and partially at home due to COVID, but we're not going to talk about that. I'm a big believer in the phrase, consistency is key, and Jonah is that student. Consistent in all aspects of design, conceptual, design drawings, modeling, overall consistent. But let's be clear, consistency does not equal boring, and Jonah always worked at pushing his ideas and explored new ideas to their full potential. For example, when students were tasked with designing a phone holder that had 2 functions, Jonah's idea was a phone-holding beverage hat. Creative, functional, and fun. Jonah, I appreciate the time and effort you put in during your 4 years in the studio. You are ready for the next chapter, and I know you will find success at the collegiate level. Just remember, consistency is key.
Mac has spent 4 years in the studio. Technically. In actuality, it has been much more. She is one member of a group who spends considerable time outside of their classes down here in the art building, honing their craft, developing their creativity. This year, she added ceramics to her repertoire of undertakings without actually taking the class. I suspect she has dedicated so many hours in the ceramics studio at this point, she might warrant actual credit. This is Mac, driven, dedicated, and passionate, not to mention wildly creative and curious about everything that makes up our world. Deeply thoughtful, Mac is reflective throughout the creative process, demanding much from herself that results in powerful work that never fails to impress. This is what Mac will take with her to school next year, and I have no doubt it is the underpinning of her future success.
Rather than save the best of Afia's images for last, I want to bring this out immediately. To focus an entire series on the egg is a tall order. Even the most talented and veteran photographer is going to photograph a fried egg or two. There's no way around it. But that last image proved that Afia was constantly looking to challenge herself to make art and not just simply make breakfast. It's evident in this egg as moon photo. Or did you ever wonder what an egg looks like while it's resting on a fire hydrant? I'm serious though, taking chances is what it's all about, and I'm happy that Af fearlessly experimented. The results were often, well, sunny side up. Wait, did I say I started with the best image? I dare you not to smile at this one last one coming up. Ready? Michaela found her stride in both a mode of recording images and a subject matter. The mode involved natural sunlight, not just taking advantage of a sunny day, but rather marshalling outdoor light by way of specific camera settings. The subject matter, no doubt, centers on flowers. Whether photographing in the backyard or destinations far and wide, Michaela steadily built quite a series. All great work, one photograph champions the others in terms of skill and talent, however. Seemingly simple, this photograph requires the knowledge of introducing flash light on the foreground in such a manner that the background does not go dark in flash fall off. The result is this completely well-lit entire photo rather than a dark plant in a well-lit background or a light plant in a bleached out background. It completely fits her series of edge-to-edge, colorful, flowerful, wonderful images. Alex chose to focus on makeup for a recent series during her senior year in photography 4 and 5. Although, I would argue it is a series about light rather than makeup. Or, one rung deeper, it's a series about extended moments that involve light and makeup is the through line that allows the viewer to appreciate the relationship between objects, color, and light. We are all familiar with an image like this, perhaps. But when a handheld flashlight is used to selectively light objects, rather than a massive pulse of flash that lights an entire scene, the results are quite interesting. Bravo!
For 4 years, Krishna has brought his creative forces to bear in the studio. At some point, perhaps while drawing with his non-dominant hand after an injury sidelined his actual drawing hand, he realized that he had a real future in the art studio as a creative individual, and he never looked back. He progressed through drawing and design, intermediate art making, critique and production 1, and now this year he finishes up a year of intense exploration, often in 3-dimension, by consistently pushing himself to examine the possibilities that various non-art materials present as media. He is always pushing the envelope with materials, and that is exciting. It is this kind of curiosity, coupled with drive and enthusiasm, that Christian will take with him as he moves on to college. I have little doubt about the success he will create for himself as a result of all this work.
I'm quite happy that Eden drilled down on one particular idea to explore for one single large related series of works. Before this series assignment, in the fall, she had good photos that used natural light, good photos that used flashlight or strobe light. She photographed large outdoor areas well, she photographed small interiors well. I was concerned it would take a lot of convincing to create a narrow topic. Fortunately, she landed on what I would call curious metal, places in the house that are clearly metal, but it is not clear what they are. Pots, pans, sculpture, globes, hardware, hinges, who knows what. What I like most, however, is that she explored how a flash strobe would affect the constructed photographic little worlds and make them more distinct. It is the exploration that I see in the work.
Cameron has been in the studio for the past 4 years. In that time, she has transformed into an artist of incredible caliber. She has dedicated herself to achieving works that exhibit her measure of craftsmanship, never settling for efforts that do not make the cut. She began in the studio working with golf ball-sized pieces of material to a command of material as large as watermelons. Fear and doubt have been replaced with belief and determination. She has maintained an excellence in her work ethic and an unwavering determination to achieve through positivity and effort. Cameron, you will be missed dearly. Never stop being creative. I know the grounds of Hampton will be shaped with your presence upon them.
Sharday has managed to fit 4 years of studio work into 3 years. Drawing and design sophomore year, intermediate art making last year, and this year, critique and production 1 and ceramics 1. Wow! Her 3 years with me have been marked by an intrepid, inquisitive thoughtfulness. She is an individual who understands the relationship between invested time, creative risk, and positive outcomes. Whether working in 2D or 3D, Sharday interrogates her materials to find their optimal working properties, willingly investing the time necessary to accomplish this. She juggles a great deal between the studio work of her 2 classes, the time she dedicates to both of these courses outside of the class time, and all that she undertakes school-wide, in addition to her academic work. And she does all of this with a calm smile, always ready to go. I know both Mr. Lin and I will miss her curiosity and positive studio presence as she heads off to continue her creative studies. Jennifer has spent 4 creative, powerful years in the art studio. Impressively, her portfolio application to RPS revealed an individual who would benefit from the rigors of a second-year level class, and she began as a freshman in intermediate art making. She never looked back. She brought a thoughtful, contemplative approach to her creative undertakings, and this, coupled with a technically strong set of skills, produced exciting work. In addition to the demand she placed on the quality of her work, Jennifer was willing to play with materials and take risks, working her way through CMP 1 and 2 effectively, setting her up this year to undertake an independent study exploring the process of block printmaking that has been both exciting and rewarding. I have no doubt that the creative exploration honed here in the studios will have a long-lasting impact on Jennifer's next educational step. Hunter's creativity and technical ability have been evident since he enrolled in drawing design 4 years ago, and nothing about this has changed a bit. What has changed is the depth of Hunter's critical thinking and commitment to process that is reflected in the complexity of his work and the manner in which he now participates in class discussions and conversations. The adage, less is more, is certainly close to Hunter's heart. He chooses his words wisely, and the power and depth evident in these choices are obvious. Hunter's words evidence deep thinking. Just like his words, Hunter's compositional construction are the result of much reflection. It is this kind of thoughtful approach to creativity, concept development, and production that has brought him success over the past 4 years, and I have little doubt that these skills will continue to provide the underpinnings to his future, where I know he will find success.
For the past 4 years, Arnav has brought his best into the studio. When I think about his process and the outcomes, the first thing that comes to mind is his critical thinking. Most projects, he would not officially put pencil onto paper until he had the design thought out in his head. For each design, he would try and think about all the possible problems before they arose. This level of thinking is not often witnessed in a designer his age. Arnav truly blended the analytical and creative. A wonderful example of this occurred during the seniors' look at redesigning the upper school office. Arnav was meticulous in his approach and worked to smartly meet all the client's needs. I have truly enjoyed the energy he has brought to the studio these past 4 years. Arnav, while UCLA is a long way away from prep, just know that I want to hear about your creative adventures as they come about. You are ready for the next chapter, and I wish you all the best. Go Bruins.
Kavya has brought her curiosity, enthusiasm, and never-ending energy to the art studio for 4 years, from freshman year in drawing and design all the way through to critique and production to this year. She coupled her curiosity about everything, process, critique, and general historical context, with a willingness to take risks and explore. On top of an impressive set of technical skills, Kavya brought a strong critical eye and intellectual mindset to all she undertook. Her willingness to explore allowed her to consistently investigate media in ways that moved beyond the scope of what was presented in class. This made for consistently exciting and creative solutions. I have little doubt that the creative skills Kavya has honed both technically and conceptually over the past 4 years will result in considerable success as she moves on to the next chapter of her educational journey.
I don't know how or why it happened, but since 6th grade, I have always called Pace by his full name. Whether it be in the wrestling room or the past 4 years in the architecture and design studio, he has always been Pace Lamb. Every class over those years, he would come in and give me a loud, "Hello, Mr. Lorian." His positive attitude resonated through the class and created the needed vibe, as us old people call it. He has put in the time and effort over the years to make improvements as he's moved up through the ranks. While it has not always been smooth sailing, the person walking out my door as a senior is a designer. Pace Lamb. Can't say that I'm going to miss seeing only your head via Zoom, but I will miss your positivity in the studio. Best of luck in Muhlenberg, both in the classroom and on the wrestling mat. Go Mules.
Choosing to focus attention on snacks as a series, Gabby involved herself in the process of making great photos. Using classic window light, she presented images like this bread and butter moment. Using Photoshop, she spent time creating a completely white background for pretzels to really visually pop off the stage. Or, conversely, she would create a dramatic black background, as seen here, when she used Photoshop to drain the color from gummy worms. This became a powerful mode of making work. By centralizing or placing snacks close to the lens, she would create dramatic black backgrounds while at the same time place extreme light on a bunch of fruit bars or a single cupcake. Great work.
Nato entered the studios as a freshman in drawing and design and has consistently revealed over 4 years of intense creative development, an impressive array of skills, a striking creative voice, and a willingness to take risks that have resulted in strong compositional solutions. This year, as a senior in Critique and Production 2, Nato turned up the heat, and to all those aforementioned important aspects of art making, he added time. Time outside of class to develop his ideas, time outside of class to physically develop his compositions, and time outside of class to reflect on the process. The only way to improve in any discipline is through the dedication of time, and you now understand this, Nato. Terrific. I have no doubt that the time you spent honing and refining your creativity over the past 4 years will support your future success. Jaden's 4 years in the art studio have been characterized by remarkable enthusiasm and excitement for creating art. From the beginning of drawing and design, he has consistently brought energy to his creative projects. This dedication has allowed him to significantly develop his vision and technique over the years, progressing through intermediate art making, Critique and Production 1, and now Critique and Production 2. This year, Jaden delved deeper into the conceptual aspects of his work, yielding particularly impressive results. It's clear that this year has been transformative for him, as he recognized the compelling and powerful nature of his creativity. As Jaden moves on to the next chapter of his educational journey, I am confident that the knowledge and skills he has gained over his 4 years in the studio will empower him to achieve even greater success. Joel nearly spent only 3 years in the art studio, but at the last minute this past fall he had a change of mind and heart and decided to return to the space where his creative voice and vision could shine, and I am so glad he did. Over the past 4 years, from drawing and design as a freshman and now to Critique and Production 2 this year, Joel has moved from a creative yet cautious individual to a strong creative artist willing to take risks, and this differentiation matters. He now owns his creativity, which is fabulous to see. Joel's critical and conceptual understanding of art has allowed him to make important additions to class discussions, and he has become a significant voice during the process of critique. The thoughtful way that he applies the same critical understanding to his compositional undertakings has been exciting to watch develop as well. I expect that Joel's creativity will lead to great success as he heads into the next chapter of his educational journey.
Sarai has been a part of the architecture and design program her entire upper school career. For the past 4 years, she has brought her unique style to the studio while fully engaging with her work. This has brought forth strong designs for dice towers, clocks, end tables, interiors, and many more. What will always be memorable is how Sarai tried to have at least one of her design ideas involve Legos for every project, whether it was a building or not. It's funny how it comes full circle though, as her last design for me was actually based on the same block to construct different modular designs. Sarai, your design ideas and the number of times I've had to say no, the design has to be realistic, will forever live in studio lore. I'm so happy for you as you move on to the University of Connecticut. Best of luck both in the classroom and on the soccer pitch. I have had the unique opportunity to have Nick in class for the past 4 years. I may be the only teacher at Rutgers Prep able to say that. I do have to be honest. Nick has had his ups and downs in his time in the studio. There has been struggles, but also many triumphs, and it's each and every one of those triumphs that I am proud of him. For anyone that knows Nick, knows that time management is not his strongest asset. For 4 years, this did not change, but somehow, Some way he would finish right before the due date. It may have been right at the end, but that push of effort was always there. Nick, as you move on to Christopher Newport University, make sure you don't wait till the last minute. Be in the moment and enjoy each and every one. Best of luck. William has been a staple in the architecture and design studio for the past 4 years. He is a beacon of consistency. For example, if you had William first thing in the morning, it was a guarantee he was going to be late. But if you had him any other period, you could count on him being the first person in the classroom. William's work was always thoughtful, and he put the needed effort into each project to find success. Designers often include a similar design aspect into their work, and for William, it was moving parts. For his end table, he wanted a working drawer. For his dice tower, a rotating cup. And even his clock was able to swing freely back and forth. It was just a small addition, but it made his work a little bit better and a little more memorable. William, I know that you will soon be rowing at another school, but I hope you remember your time at Rutgers Prep fondly. Best of luck to each and every future endeavor.
Marin may have started her artistic journey in drawing design a few weeks later than other students as a freshman, but that didn't stop her for a second. She quickly caught up to her peers and settled right in. She spent the next few years driving herself hard while honing her creative voice and technical ability with excellent results in intermediate art making, Critique and Production 1, and now Critique and Production 2. Marin's work is reflective of a thoughtful, contemplative individual who is willing to take the kind of risks and invest the kind of time outside of class to bring her vision to reality. And this is powerfully exciting. Her embrace of mixed media, coupled with story, always story with Marin, allows her to construct dynamic work that reveals the depth of her creativity. I expect Marin will find success in her next educational chapter as she continues to apply her drive and creativity to all she undertakes.
Vivon has been in the architecture and design studio for the past 4 years. Like all the seniors, life as a freshman put him in a unique situation, with prep being in a hybrid model. Things started to normalize after that, and Vivon was able to fully immerse himself into the studio atmosphere at prep. A motivated Vivon is a strong designer with thoughtful ideas. Over the course of his time in the studio, he has shown growth and continued to expand his design range. Having participated in many design disciplines such as architecture, interior, landscape design, and industrial design, Vivon has found success. Vivon, make sure to fully hydrate as you walk the hills of Happy Valley next year at Penn State. Stay motivated, stay positive, and best of luck. Arjun is one of the most confident designers I have ever met. For the past 4 years, from his first class until his last, he came in every project saying, "I've got this." His critical thinking, along with strong drawing and construction skills, helped him create designs that were both aesthetically pleasing and functional. A great example of this can be witnessed in the clock he designed to start the year. Knowing that he was going to be building the design himself, Arjun did not shy away from pushing his ideas. The results, as you can see, was a beautifully constructed, fully functioning piece of design. Arjun, keep an open mind and continue to push your limits of what you feel is possible as a designer. Wherever your path takes you, strive to make the most of every situation. It has been a fun 4 years, and I wish you nothing but the best. Mateo's time in the studio, and really his Rutgers Prep experience as a whole, can be split up into his freshman and sophomore year and his junior and senior year. The amount of growth that occurred between the two is honestly hard to quantify. The result of this growth is a mature young adult ready to tackle whatever is put in front of him. For that, I am truly proud of Mateo. Design was not something that came natural for him. Mateo had to work very hard over the years, and I hope he sees the steps that he made. He improved in every aspect of design, from conceptual to design drawings to modeling. Mateo, I fear the only way to properly send you off is one final dad joke. So here it is. What's blue and not very heavy? Light blue. Ha! Best of luck in college and beyond. Make sure to stop back every once in a while and say hi.
This will be the conclusion of the 4th year with Aaliyah in the studio. Aaliyah is finishing the year with work that pushed scale, complexity, and refinement. She challenged herself every day in the studio with a smile just under the surface, even when things weren't going as planned. The studio always brightens when Aaliyah is working within it, always bringing a balance between humor, respect, and a rationale above her years. It has been a pleasure sharing in the fluidity of Aaliyah's creative energy and her willingness to work through struggle. I will miss your confidence and expressive presence, Aaliyah. I know the community of Howard will be stronger for your attendance within their walls.
In my mind, every year there is one senior who wins the, quote, I live in the art studio, end quote, award because they are, to my joy, here all the time. Sarah is this year's recipient despite having some stiff competition. Sarah has spent an incredible amount of time in the studio outside of classes over the past 4 years. When they added photography to an impressively colorful palette of classes junior year, this only multiplied the time in the studio. All this time wouldn't mean much if the individual wasn't making art, but Sarah was making art with a capital A. Creatively complex, conceptually rigorous art that was and is reflective of a collegiate-level effort that has never failed to impress. The intellect and creativity that was nurtured and honed here in the studio will continue to provide the basis for the future success that I expect Sarah will achieve in college.